When I was in my undergraduation days, I used to feel 1 or 2 days is enough to make a good CV. But when I went to IIM Ahmedabad, we almost had more than a month to complete a CV for our summer placement. And I used to think that's a lot of time. However, as it turned out, it was also not good enough time to learn all the intricacies of building a good CV. So a recruiter will give maximum 15-20 seconds to your CV, and in that short span of time, you have to structure your CV in a way such that you can grab his attention and secure a shortlist for yourself. So this video is going to be a guide on how you can build a good CV. Remember, this video alone cannot get your shortlist because you also need credentials on your profile. And for that, I had made another video on how you can build a great profile in your college. And at the end of this video as well, I will mention some quick points that you can complete in a span of few months, and you can add those in your CV. But if you have got good credentials and still not able to show that on your CV, then that's a bigger concern. As I said, you have maximum 15-20 seconds with a recruiter to make an impact, and that is what we will learn in this video, how to make that impactful CV. So first we'll start with the different sections that you should have in your CV. After that, we will go to what are the different points that you can put under each of these sections. And finally, I'll mention some do's and don'ts that you have to follow while writing these CV points. So the different sections that you should have on your CV include the educational qualification, work experience, internships if you have done, extracurricular activities, co-curricular activities, positions of responsibility. And if you want to add, you can add separate sections for skills and hobbies as well, but that is also optional. And certainly you should have your personal information in your CV at the top itself, and that should include your name, your phone number, and a professional email ID. So now coming to what to put under each of these sections, and starting with educational background or educational qualification, here you need to put your 10 score, your 12 score, your undergraduation CGPA and post-graduation CGPA if you have that as well. So this section is kind of fixed, you cannot change it much, but what you can do in one of the columns is you can mention some of the distinctions that you have had in that particular category. For example, if you ranked in top 3 in your school in any 10 or 12, you can put that. In case you were a gold medalist in your college in academics, you can put that as well. After that comes the work experience, and here you need to put the projects that you have worked on in your company. Obviously the freshers will not have this section and it's completely fine, but if you have work experience, put down the projects that you have worked on. You need to be very careful in writing this section. This section should highlight the domain knowledge that you have, the skills that you have, and the tools that you have worked on, because it makes it very easy for the recruiter then to judge your profile. And the way you write your points in this section makes a lot of impact, and I'll cover that in the next section, that there are different techniques that you can use: front loading, using numbers to show your impact, using action words, and so on, and I'll discuss that in the next section. After that comes the internship. If you have done any, you should definitely put that in your CV as well, and nothing much to say over here. It will be exactly similar to that of your work experience section. You need to put the points in the same way. It will be about your internship project. But if you have received any outstanding performance certificate in your internship, you should definitely mention it at the top. If you have received a PPO, then definitely put it at the top. If you have received any like outstanding achievement or outstanding intern award or anything of that sort, then also you can put that at the top itself. After that comes the co-curricular activities section, where you need to include your academic achievements outside of your normal curriculum. For example, if you have won any maths olympiad, science olympiad, then you can put that over here. If you have scored very highly in any competitive exam, you can put that as well. I used to put my CAT score in this particular section. Any courses that you have done where you have the certificate to show, you can put that as well. After that, there are certain case competitions. If you have participated in that and won that, you can put that. Any life project that you would have done with any company, you can put that as well. After that comes the extracurricular activities section. Here you can break it down into different categories. For example, sports can be one category, social activities can be one category, culture and arts can be another one category. You can include different points from anything that you have done, any sports competition that you have won, any music, dance, debate, quiz competitions that you have participated in. Anything apart from academics can be put in this section, and this section is also like kind of important to show the recruiter that you have done things beyond academics as well. And as I said, for convenience of the recruiter, you can break it down into different categories. After that is the positions of responsibility section, and as the name suggests, here you need to put any positions that you have held. It can be something like coordinator in a fest, or if you were the president of any club in your college, or if you were the house captain or head boy in your school, anything of that sort comes under this particular section. Basically, the idea is here you should try to highlight your leadership qualities as much as possible. And after that, there is a skills and hobbies section, which are kind of optional. If you have not been able to highlight your skills properly in your work experience and other section, then you can include that in this section itself. And remember to not put something like team player, confidence, these kind of skills here. The skills should be very functional and very relevant to the role as well. So something like coding, for example, is a good skill to add. Data analytics, if you know, then that is a good skill to have. So you should add such kind of points in this section. So now coming to the do's and don'ts of writing a good CV. Here we'll follow certain strategies, and the first strategy that we'll follow is that of front loading. Try to understand how a recruiter will scan your entire CV in 15 seconds. He will start from top left, obviously, and he will not go line by line. He will go from top left to bottom right. That's how he will be able to scan it in 15 seconds. And for this, what you need to make sure is front load in two different ways. First, all the impactful points should be at the top. For example, if you have worked in a great company or if you have worked in a great domain, that should come at the top. If you have interned in a great company, that should come at the top. If you have great extracurricular achievements or great leadership skills in positions of responsibility, that can come at the top. So try to put your most impactful points at the top, and even within each of the categories. For example, within your work experience, put your impactful projects at the top. No need to go sequentially, that if you have done one project after the other, no need to put it that way. Whatever you find is the most impactful project, put those ones at the top. And this was front loading from top to bottom. You also need to front load from left to right as well. That is, every point that you start, the first 5 or 6 words should tell the recruiter the impact that you have made. He should not have to read beyond that. It should be the first 5-6 words telling the impact clearly. The next strategy is that of using action words. So every sentence that you start, you can start with some action words like initiated, conceptualized, design. That basically tells the impact that you have created. And these action words in a way help you in front loading from left to right as well. So some of the action words you can see on the screen. I've put an example for you. You can screenshot this or save this for later and use these kind of words while starting your points in the CV. Also, I've put some example sentences that I use in my CV in the description. You can see that as well. You will get an idea about how to front load as well as use action words in your sentences. And the third strategy is to quantify your impact. For example, if you're writing some point like reduce the overall cost through this initiative, if you can write it like reduce the overall cost by 30% through this initiative, it makes all the more impact. First of all, the recruiter's eyes will be more inclined to fall on those numbers, and they will be more inclined to read those sentences where you have these numbers. That's the first advantage. And second is that it makes your impact all the more real. So if you can quantify those impacts, please try to do that. It can be in percentage terms or in absolute terms, but whatever it is, if you can quantify it, do that in your CV. Now coming to some of the don'ts in your CV that will definitely get your CV rejected. Whenever you are starting your CV with personal information, the email that you put should be very professional. It should be your name and some numbers is fine, but it should not have any adjectives like cool, perfect, anything of that sort. Second is there shouldn't be any typo or spelling mistake in your CV. That's a major put off for the recruiter if he or she sees any spelling mistake in your CV, which means that you were not very interested in that position, you were not very careful while applying with that CV. So try to avoid that. You can run a spell check on Word or any other tool that you are making your CV on. You can run a spell check and make sure there's no spelling mistake and all the sentences are correct. Third is you should definitely use a very clean and professional format for your CV. You would have heard certain people making their CVs very creative, probably in the form of a Netflix show or something. But understand that only works for very creative profiles, say a UI, UX designer and so on. But suppose you are applying for finance role and you make a very fancy CV, that is something which is absolutely not acceptable. So your CV in most of the cases should be very clean and very professional. Fourth is keeping your CV restricted to one page. Even people with 15-20 years of experience are able to put that in one page. So certainly you will also be able to. More than one page CV becomes a hassle for the recruiter to scan through, and most probably your other pages will be neglected. So try to restrict it to one page itself. So this was all about building a good CV, but as I had mentioned, I will tell you some quick points that you can use to add in your CV if you do not have a good credentials. So some quick activities that you can do in a span of 1 or 2 months and add it in your CV. First is you can do some courses from Coursera, Udemy. Try to do it from a single domain so that it shows your interest in that particular domain, and you can add these points in your co-curricular activity section. Another thing that you can do is you can volunteer for certain NGO. You can find those probably through Internshala, or you can directly mail NGOs. They are always happy to onboard more volunteers, and if you can do that for 2-3 months and get a certificate, then you can certainly put that in your extracurricular activity section. Third is you can participate in case competitions, and if you win some, you can add that in your co-curricular activities. Again, you can find very good case competition organized by different colleges on the Unstop portal. So you can visit that, participate in different case competitions organized by different colleges, and if you happen to win any of them, definitely add that in the co-curricular activity. That's a major boost to your resume. And also you can join some clubs outside of your college as well. For example, if there's a Toastmaster club, you can join that club, participate in the activities, and if you can moderate some activities for that club, you can definitely put that in your CV, again in the extracurricular activity section. That was all about building a holistic profile and a CV. If you have any doubts still left, you can put that on the comment. I'll try to address that. And if you learned something from this video, then do leave a like and subscribe, and see you in the next one.